Hey, it's Melissa here with another book recommendation for you. What should I read, Melissa? Well, I'm going to tell you. I'm going indie today.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
There's so many great books out there that are not produced by massive publishing houses, and this is one of them. Now, disclosure, this is a friend of mine who wrote this book, but I would not recommend it if I didn't think she was good.
Touché.
So Connie Lacey is her name. Her latest book, let me turn it around, is The Time Capsule. Isn't that a great cover? I think great covers are just so memorable. But The Time Capsule, Connie Lacey. So Connie and I worked together in news radio.
I'll need my news team at my side.
And she was at her last radio station, and she had let that be known that she was ready to retire from news radio.
I'm so done.
And we worked together. She had mentioned that she was working on a book. Now, she wasn't working on this one. She's had several before this. But at the time, she was working on her first book, and I thought, you know what? If anybody's going to do it, she's the one to do it, because I want to give props to indie authors. Because if you've never done a book on your own or know anybody that's done a book on their own, you have to be your own publishing house. So you have to not only write, you have to figure out how to get it edited. You have to figure out where is going to, what place is going to produce the book. You have to get the cover done. You have to figure all those things out, where at a publishing house, the author, all they have to do is write. And then there's editors at the publishing house, and then there's people at the publishing house who determine the cover, and there's people at the publishing house who get all the actual printing done. So I wanted to give props to indie authors because they're doing everything.
Friends, companions I've known, I salute you.
So when Connie and I worked together and she said that she was going to do this, she was such a fantastic reporter. And to be a reporter at any level, it's a lot of multitasking, a lot of thought process. And I thought, you know what? She's probably got the props to do it. I think so many authors talk themselves out of getting something published. So many authors talk themselves out of even getting past the first chapter.
I can't.
So anyway, The Time Capsule. What is The Time Capsule about? Well, basically it's about a woman who goes back in the past, and it's set here in Atlanta. And the thing that I loved about it is Connie's timing, because she released this book during the pandemic, and she had written about the flu pandemic 100 years ago in the book. So she had done the research on the pandemic, the previous pandemic, and wrote about it long before the actual pandemic took place here that we're going through right now. So I told her, I said, what are the odds of that? But anyway, it's basically a woman who goes back in time during that flu pandemic, who also has to endure some of the other things in history, as well as fall in love. So it is a love story. But one of the other things I love about this book is the historical references. The fact that historical novels, to me, serve such a great purpose, because for those who may not have enjoyed history in school, it's a way to learn about things kind of, I don't know, in real context. Right. So some of the stories that Connie says in her book, as well as other historical novels, you learn it through the character's eyes. Right. So it could be just some random thing that a character on the street notices. It could be an experience that the character themselves go through when it comes to a pandemic, if it's symptoms, or if it goes through World War I, World War II, anything you're writing about in the past. In this book, they do reference men having to go off into war. So, like, for instance, my mother, she was a senior in high school, and the World War II was still going on, and she was the valedictorian of her class. And she told me this story of having to give her valedictory speech to her class, but all the guys had been shipped off to war. So they put an American flag in the place of where the guys in her class had to sit, or would have sat had they been home. So there's my mother having to give a speech, she said, without losing it, without tearing up, and only giving it to the women in her class. And so to me, that kind of brings the emotion in of the historical event, not just some kind of flat teaching in a history class. I think they go together. So my recommendation The Time Capsule. Connie Lacey. Congratulations, Connie. Congratulations to anybody else who has written their own book, or to your friends who've written their own book, because the indie publishing industry needs your support as well as the main publishing houses. So I encourage you to do that. And if you have any books that you would recommend that have historical references or historical purposes, please leave them in the comments below, because it's a fantastic genre to be a part of. So we'd love to hear your recommendations in the comments. And if you want to know more about the other books that I've talked about, just please go to the description below. You'll see a link to Connie's book, as well as her other books if you want to check her other stuff out, and all the other books I've talked about. So I hope you have a great day. Keep reading, and we'll see you next time.